Man, I love these shoes. I really hope they don't make a cringy movie about them. I know, you've already seen the title of this video, so I'll just say this. Yes, the Crocs movie is real, and yes, it can hurt you. You probably want to hide. So for whatever reason, the company known for making shoes designed to get you laid decided to make a movie. And I'm probably using the word movie a bit generously here, speaking that it's one of those TikTok style movies and it's only about 5 episodes long. But I didn't think you'd understand me if I said that Crocs made a TV miniseries microdrama for real short. And look, despite what you'd think, making a TikTok movie for chronically online children, whose brains desperately yearn for their next hit of dopamine, that's also one giant advertisement, isn't that bad of an idea. It's actually far worse. And as hilariously bad as this movie is, I think everything surrounding the movie might be even funnier. But it only makes sense once you've actually seen the movie, so let's talk about that first. So the movie is called Charmed to Meet You, and this is our main character, Lexi, who is a, quote, young female professional. What is she a professional at? Female? Or something? I don't really know, because even though she spends most of this movie at work and seemingly her only friends are her coworkers, they never really expand on what it is that they do. I know I probably shouldn't have expected much character depth, given that this movie is basically 5 TikToks in a trench coat, but I did expect slightly more to the main character than pretty girl who can't find love. But I'm getting slightly ahead of myself, so let's start at the beginning. So the movie starts out and we immediately learn that Lexi is unwell. She has a Crocs phone case and Crocs slippers, which are not to be confused with the Crocs that she wears while she's getting dressed. And those Crocs are not to be confused with the other pair of Crocs that she changes into. Quick little side note, why do these opening shots look so weird? I don't think it's AI, and I'm pretty sure it's not a green screen, but something with the focus just feels off, and I cannot for the life of me figure out what it is. So if somebody with more than 2 functioning brain cells could let me know in the comments what's going on here, that'd be great. Back to the movie, Lexi heads off to work, and she sees that her neighbor left their Crocs on their doormat. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like leaving your shoes in the hallway is an insane move. Honestly, it feels like something a crazy person would do. I mean, like, Lexi's totally into it because she's a lonely Crocs file, but if that were me and I saw that, I'm never coming back. Either because I moved out that day, or because the serial killer who clearly lives there ate me. And I know some of you are probably sitting there thinking that I'm overreacting here, but we're not talking about some dirty, stinky sneakers in the hallway. We're talking about some factory new Crocs. The only person who leaves those in the hallway is someone who doesn't fear any man or God. And look, I'm not trying to stick around and figure out why. I am saving myself. So while your friends and family are on the news explaining how tragic and unexpected it was that you ended up on Dahmer's dinner table, I'll be there and I'll be saying, yeah, there were signs. Anyways, Lexi, who is unfazed by this madness, thinks the only crime being committed here is having no gibbets on those Crocs. So she decides to leave one of the 2.4 million that she's currently wearing.
Much better.
And then about 16 nanoseconds after Lexi walks out of the frame, the guy who owns those Crocs opens his door. What? Crocs, if you're gonna have the balls to try and make a movie, then I'm gonna hold you to some standards. What are we doing? Are you really gonna try and tell me that he didn't see her when he opened this door? How dumb do you think I am? I know I was born last night, but I wasn't... Wait, I might have fucked that up. But he clearly saw her, and then he saw that she's clearly the only person around. And I know that devil's advocates are probably back at it again. Oh, but Jamie, she probably went out the front door. Shut up, devil's advocates. I cannot wait for you to get eaten. And also, they show later on that she has to use the elevator to leave. So what's probably happening is that she's standing in the corner in front of the elevator like an idiot. Excuse me? Yo, lady, why were you touching my Crocs? You're the only one around. Okay. So Lexi shows up to the office all smiley and happy-go-lucky, which, might I remind you, this is all because she saw a pair of shoes. And immediately, her coworkers clock it and ask if she's in love.
Who got you smiling like that?
Was someone shot by Cupid's arrow?
What the hell is she like normally if her smiling draws this much attention? I mean, she has to show up pretty damn miserable. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I hate this fucking job, I hate this job, I hate this job. I gotta get out of here. Oh, fuck, I gotta get out of here. I can't be here anymore. I can't fucking die. I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna die. Hey, Jim, how's it going? Another day, another dollar. Come on, do I apply? How do I apply? Yeah. Please.
Was someone shot by Cupid's arrow?
I wish. You know I've had the worst luck with love lately. That's why, this year, I'm spending Valentine's Day moving out of that money pit of an apartment.
What? But you're a conventionally attractive girl in her 20s. What do you mean you're spending Valentine's Day alone? You're not allowed to do that.
What? My best friend is not spending the most romantic day of the year alone.
I won't be alone. We'll have a dozen cardboard boxes and 2 very muscular movers.
Oh, I know that's right.
Yeah, of course he's fruity as hell. Look, I am all for diversity and representation, but somebody has to tell these casting directors they are not being slick. I notice it every time you try and diversity max, and it's not woke, it's kinda cringe. We don't need to collect all the infinity stones of minorities for the damn Extendo Crocs commercial. There's 4 characters in this movie, and one of them's a dude's shoes. I think it's okay if we don't check every box. Look, I'm no Lorax, so I don't want to speak for the trees here, but hyperbolically speaking, Crocs are the gayest thing that I own. I think it's okay if you tone it down a notch, you know? You don't need to make them a polycule. It's okay, Crocs. I know you're woke. No one was marching with tiki torches and red Crocs. You're good. Anyways, Lexi's coworker slash best friend, Devin, wants to convince her to find a date before Valentine's Day, which is 2 weeks away.
I'm serious, Lex. If anyone can find a date by Valentine's Day, it's you. You just need to put yourself out there.
Maybe I already am.
Maybe you already are. You bedazzled a stranger's shoe without consent. What's your next move, Romeo? Do you think you're gonna sniff him to see if he works out? What if we tried a hello, you know? How about we test that one out for size? Now, when Lexi returns home, she sees the Crocs are still there, but they're missing the gibbet. Did I miss something? Why is she acting like that's some grand romantic gesture? Kinda seems like he didn't really like you fucking with his Crocs. But Lexi, devoid of any rationale or reasoning, decides it must be a sign, so she goes to knock on his door. And you know what? It's one of those wrong math, right answer type of situations. Until she chickens out, and then it just becomes a normal wrong math, wrong answer situation. Hold up, why is she multiple feet away from the door all of a sudden? Can we just roll that back real quick? So she's walking up to the door, and then she's inches away. She's about to knock on the door, and then boom, right there. What's going on there? Can you just walk me through that one real quick, Crocs? I just need to try to wrap my head around where the door went. So Lexi decides not to knock on Crocman's door, and instead decides to spend the next week being depressed. Hey girly, you're killing the vibes? Notice how everyone around you is having a good ass time and then they stopped because you did a performative ass sigh. Look, I'm not saying don't speak up if you're feeling sad. Real talk, if you feel sad or in a dark place, talk to the people around you. I promise they care and they want to be there for you, even if you think that they don't. But if you're pulling this shit because you saw a pair of Crocs a week ago, they should and probably will tell you to shut the fuck up.
Okay, that sigh felt a bit loaded.
Remember that guy I saw in my apartment elevator?
Remember, you wouldn't stop talking about him for weeks.
6 foot, strong hands.
And Crocs on both feet. So it turns out Lexi had seen that guy in the elevator once before, which I guess makes it slightly less weird that she was so excited to see his shoes. But I'd also argue it's more weird that she remembered what shoes he had in the first place. I mean, you don't even remember the color of my Crocs from the intro. Wrong. They were stilettos.
Please tell me you knocked on that door and talked to him.
Better. I put one of my gibbets on his shoe.
Stop. That's so cute.
I thought so too.
Lexi, you need better friends. Sure, yeah, you need supportive people around you, but you also need people to tell you that's a stupid idea and you should just go knock on his door and stop ruining everyone's lunch. Lexi's coworkers go on to say that she should basically just go knock on his door and ask him to get coffee. No, I'm kidding. They tell her to keep doing it.
Maybe he just lacks some fun and needs to appreciate a good gibbets.
Or you just need to figure out what he likes.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe this could turn into a Valentine's Day miracle.
Doesn't hurt to get to know my neighbor.
Lexi, you move out in 7 days. I think the ship of getting to know your neighbor has already sailed. Unfortunately, common sense is well and truly dead in this universe because she still decides not to knock on his door, but instead to go put a fuck ton of gibbets on his Crocs. I mean, she literally takes every charm from her shoe and puts it on his. And I don't know your gibbets knowledge, but these things are not cheap. They're like $4 to $8 per charm. And she has now put 12 of them on his shoes. She's pretty much doing the Crocs version of a money spread. Hi, did you spend all your money on boring things like rent and groceries? But then you saw your neighbor's shoes and now you have no money left to pursue them romantically by buying them overpriced shoe charms in the 2 weeks leading up to Valentine's Day. It sounds like you're gonna be alone forever. But had you known about this video's sponsor, Clover, that wouldn't have been a problem. Clover is a financial app that lets you access your paycheck early with no interest, no credit checks, and no hidden fees. One time when I was in college, I had just spent nearly every dollar I had to my name on deposits so that I could rent a house with my friends the following year. And the funniest thing happened because the very next day, my car's brakes stopped working. They were working fine when I had all of my money, but then when I had none, they left me. It was awesome, and it was perfectly timed so that I had no money and I wouldn't for 2 weeks until I got paid. But with Clover, that situation would have been much simpler and much less stressful because I simply could have used their app to access up to $400 of my next paycheck. And it certainly would have been much better than the alternatives, which have predatorily high interest rates or large hidden fees. So whether you're buying overpriced shoe charms so that you're not alone forever, or maybe you just need a little help bridging the gap after an unexpected car repair, if Clover sounds like a service that could help you out, head to the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to sign up and let them know that I sent you. Thank you to Clover for sponsoring this part of the video, and now I'm gonna get down from these chairs that I've stacked up. I'm quite high up right now. It's a pretty unstable. The next day, she wakes up to find he took everything except for the sushi off of his shoes, which clearly means, what is it supposed to mean? That he hated 92% of the charms you put on his shoes? That's kind of the vibe I get from it. Clearly, Lexi had a different takeaway because she and her coworkers are seemingly quite encouraged by the news.
This is perfect. You love sushi. I think I hear wedding bells.
Slow down, Cupid. Who doesn't love sushi?
Oh, thank God. Finally, someone's neurons decide to do something useful. Lexi decides that Dante, whose name I'm pretty sure they never say, I just saw it on IMDb, is probably right, and that she does need to know more about this guy than sushi. So she decides to go to the Crocs store and load up on gibbets so that she could ask him the non-negotiables, such as pineapple on pizza, video games or chess, and sweet or savory. This kind of feels like a really bad way to ask those questions. Like, I guess this means, do you like pineapple on pizza? Or maybe you're asking about a swingers pizza party. And I just think that's something you might want to clarify. He might feel pretty stupid if he takes 4 Blue Chews and orders all that pizza just for no one to show up. Not that I'd know. This also just feels like a pretty inefficient way to ask these questions, especially since every time she asks them, she's wearing a completely different outfit, which is also different than the one she was wearing at the Crocs store. So she spent 4 of her last 6 days there asking these stupid questions? Nah, that was one day. Now Lexi is stressed because after changing outfits like it's the Eras tour and hammering this dude with questions only asked by Reddit moderators, he decided to ask her if she likes nuggets or french fries. Two foods known for having to be picked between. And her response to this is so dumb. I'm just gonna show you.
So? Are you gonna answer him?
I don't know. I'm about to move.
Buildings, not continents.
She doesn't know? She has spent the GDP of a small nation buying gibbets for this guy's shoes. And all it took was for him to ask one, I'll admit, fairly stupid question, for her to bail completely? It's too late. You can't just un-sushi gibbet someone's croc. That's not how it works. This wasn't an I love you on the first date, okay? We're not talking icebreakers anymore. She asked him video games or chess. Back in my day, that used to mean something. Wait, actually, bit aside, she never answers the question, or at least we never find out that she did. Like, it immediately goes from her seeing his question to her being at work talking to her coworkers. And she's questioning everything because she only knows things about him, and she's afraid that once he starts learning about her that he won't be interested. You know, learns things like if she prefers nuggets or fries or what her name is. Actually, I'll just spoil that part now. They never ask. I don't know, didn't come up in the way that names famously never do. But look, that's all fine and whatever, but her coworkers tell her that she's got to put herself out there and take the risk. And then it cuts to her ordering 2 kilos of gibbets and then returning to the shoes to ask him another question. 3 different outfits, by the way, but we don't have time for that. First of all, that is absolutely not what they told her to do. They said she should put herself out there and tell him about her. She said, I heard ya loud and clear, and then proceeded to make this man complete the SATs via sandal hieroglyphics. Second, and really the whole point of this aside, she never answered his question. And then when she went to ask him a new one, the nugget and fry were gone. So what does he think happened? Like, they went through 4 questions in a single day, but then it took like a day or 2 for her to come back? Does he think she answered it? He just saw his shoe 45 minutes later, still with both gibbets, and he thought, yeah, I guess that's a good point. I hate how they're always making me choose. This is why you can't just fuck around and enter the movie game, Crocs. The people will have questions and we will demand answers. Anyways, back to this monstrosity. They ask a bunch of questions back and forth, pretty much obliterating any of the time they had left.
Favorite sport?
Soccer, obviously. Music tastes?
Country, always.
Favorite seasons?
Winter is the best.
Tic-tac-toe?
Challenge accepted.
So finally, moving day has arrived and Lexi reveals her grand plan, a heart charm. Mind you, we still don't know his name. I mean, she hasn't even narrowed it down to a letter, but there's no time for any silly logic or reasoning because Lexi has a croc to interrogate. And as she goes to do that, she hears a knock on her front door. But like, of course it isn't him. He doesn't know where she lives. He doesn't know her name.
Ms. Leamington, you scheduled movers for today, right?
Happy Valentine's Day.
I'm sure those guys were ecstatic that she didn't overdo it with the packing. Her entire kitchen is untouched, which is great because it would be a shame if she was at all prepared for the service that she hired and the day she knew was coming. So she heads to place this charm, and this is where things get complicated because there's a second pair of pink Crocs outside his door. No, I'm just kidding, but imagine. No, unfortunately the real situation's a lot less dramatic. Oh no, he left his apartment for seemingly the first time in 2 weeks. As you'd imagine, this is devastating news for Lexi. And honestly, she handles it pretty well. She immediately heads to her nearest US Army recruitment office because she asks what she can do for her country and not what her country can do for her. Plus, nothing heals a broken heart like the used Mustang you can buy with your enlistment bonus. Sorry, I keep going off the rails here. The ending kinda sucks. It's exactly what you'd expect.
Oh shoot, I'm sorry.
How did she not see him? What was this little glance up about if she couldn't see Timu Jacob Elordi walking right at her? And obviously, he's the Crocs guy.
Could she be? Are you?
I'm Lexi.
I'm Tyler.
Oh, I guess technically they do the names, but I meant like on the shoe. And yeah, that's it. It's about as deep as you'd expect a TV miniseries microdrama produced mostly as an ad for Crocs to be. What I didn't expect was for this to be based on a real story from one of Crocs' real employees. So I discovered this when I was reading some of the articles written about the movie, and they very casually mentioned that this is based on a real love story with a real Crocs employee. Clearly, whoever wrote these articles had not seen the movie, because I refuse to believe anyone could be so nonchalant about something like this. Inspired by a true love story involving a real Crocs employee is not something which should be hidden between two commas, not even the star of its own sentence. It is a headline. It is the article. Crocs made a stupid movie, and holy fuck, it's actually based on a real thing. Now, obviously, I needed to know, who is this person? Are they real? Is their relationship still going on? I have a lot of questions. I don't really have all that information though, but I did find out quite a bit from this post by the Crocs CMO, where she tags the person who this story is based on. And look, I don't want to share too many details because I don't really want to invade this person's privacy, although I don't really think you make an ad campaign about your meet cute if you're really worried about your privacy. But I'll just say, this person had only worked for Crocs for like 8 months before this came out. And I've worked on marketing teams before. I know it doesn't move fast. So I'm pretty sure they wrote this movie about them when they were like a few months into the job. Imagine being brand new at a company, you're not even on the healthcare plan yet, and then the massive international brand that is your employer decides to base their major marketing campaign on the dude you met last week. Honestly, I kind of want to hear from the dude. I mean, there is a solid chance he is completely unaware this movie exists. He just thought things are moving fast as she's desperately speedrunning their relationship so she can finish the script. While I was down that LinkedIn rabbit hole, I discovered this other LinkedIn post along with a ton of articles which talk about this like it's some revolutionary venture. Instead of telling you what to buy, brands are showing you a world you might want to step into. Sure, whatever the hell that means. I guess Crocs doesn't want me to spend $300 on gibbets. That's why they put them all in this special collection so I could easily avoid them. Also, she like boasts about these unimpressive numbers. Episode 1 has reached nearly 700,000 views on YouTube and crossed 20K on TikTok. Yeah, I mean, I guess it sounds good when you say it like that, but what if I told you this guy got 5 million views and all he did was eat a $9 rotisserie chicken in a park? 20K kind of sounds sad. Now, 700,000 on YouTube actually is an impressive number, and that's actually up to 3.6 million as of today, which would be very impressive, but they totally paid for it. Like, you can pay to promote a video on YouTube and it just kind of gets pushed like an ad, which makes sense that they do, speaking that their video is literally an ad. And don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on Crocs for doing it. I'm hating on this lady for being a dork. She should probably update her post to say, Episode 1 has reached nearly 3.5 million views on YouTube, and Episode 2 has reached nearly 3,000. Yeah, literally episodes 2 through 5 have under 3,000 views. Episode 1, perfect, fantastic, no notes. Episodes 2 through 5 though, I'm sure there's plenty more lore surrounding this movie, but I think if I spend any more time looking at this movie or thinking about Crocs, I will be committed to an insane asylum. So I'm not going to do that. But I will spend time thinking about my patrons, whose names are on screen now. They help support my channel and get access to a bunch of cool perks, and you know how a Patreon works. If you're kind of interested in it, go check it out. Alright, I'm going to go back to the liminal void that I exist in between videos, so I'll see you next time.